Welcome back. We're going to dive into some questions now about Korean crafts.
So, what do you think about this one? People, do you think are genuinely interested in traditional Korean crafts?
I think if you introduce it to them, they feel a connection and then they get interested in it. That's what I've noticed a lot with the kind of the traditional stuff.
Right.
Is maybe you don't see it day to day, but if someone starts to incorporate it in with some modern design or arts or products, then people are like, oh, this is really great. Like it gives me a feeling of nostalgia or something like that.
Also, I was thinking about, because traditional Korean craft sounds very serious. So if we can approach with a little bit of entertainment, right, then it's a little easier to get to know more traditional Korean crafts, I think. Because it sounds very serious.
You gotta kind of modernize it a bit and give it some modern function or something like that.
And then some interaction, right? I think that's why children, they're so open to learn like traditional Korean crafts compared to adults. Because adults no fun. I guess. Right.
Well then, on that note, what is your favorite type of traditional Korean art or craft?
Probably, I don't know, it's a traditional Korean crafts. Calligraphy, is it Korean?
Yeah.
Oh, the calligraphy,
writing,
right? The traditional Korean. They used to write probably some Chinese alphabet letter, but you know they can use Korean, right? So that kind of calligraphy is kind of interesting. Right.
So do you think that those techniques, maybe they're very old, like you said, going back a long time. Do you think more should be done to preserve that? And how do you keep those techniques going? And how do you keep maybe new generations interested? Right.
It's a very interesting question, and then it's very serious. In order to continue the legacy as a Korean, I think the government or museums, they have to provide that kind of platforms, which is, I think the museums, they are doing it. Because otherwise, what's the cultural identity? What's Koreans? The identity, issues. So I think for that reasons, at least the museums obviously provide that kind of like programs, especially to children, I guess. Because it's more entertaining.
For children.
Right. Because when we have fun, right? We automatically, naturally, organically, we can learn pretty faster. I think.
I've noticed that if sometimes you go to some of the shopping centers and they have some events where they're just chock full of little pop-ups and things like small designers, amateur or semi-professional designers. I've noticed that there is a growing trend where they are taking bits and pieces of Korean art and traditional crafts, like designs, colors, and they're putting it into more modern aesthetic. Chock full.
Chock full.
I think it's really interesting, and it does give Korean,
appealing.
Like there's something appealing, and it gives a different vibe to what is Korean in the modern age.
Oh, exactly, right. So I think that's the reason this will be never-ending project, I guess. From the government's point of view and the museum as well.
Do you think that the young people in their 20s are growing more interested in preserving this kind of thing?
Maybe some group of people, young generations, they probably. But most people, they are busy getting jobs. So maybe not in their 20s. After they get settled down, start a family that age, maybe they can reconnect with the Koreanness, I guess.
Well, I think if they at least try their hand at it and maybe find that they're good at it, and then develop it, learn it, and then possibly that could turn into a job for them.
Eventually.
That could turn into new industries and new areas. So,
never know.
I think it's good that they are looking into it and kind of interested in it. Try one's hand.
Try one's hand.
That's it for today. We will see you next time.